Cooking is extremely important in New World, but not all ingredients are created equal, and if you aren't careful, you can end up wasting a lot of time and money. Let's talk about it. Hello and welcome to my early cooking guide for New World. My name is CodeYo. I make survival, crafting, and MMO content. If you learned something new, please do drop a sub, like, or maybe some sweet love note down below. Let's get into it. I'm going to teach you how to efficiently make your own food in bulk. This will focus on the first 3 tiers of HP and mana regen food, as afterwards things can get drastically less efficient. I myself am still using tier 3 food later into the game because it's just much more cost effective, and I'll save anything higher tier for PvP. It's important to know that recovery foods don't lock you into specific ingredients needed. Instead, they require tiers of raw food. Here's a chart to help show this. You can see that tier 1 food only requires 1 item of tier 1 raw food, and as you increase to say tier 3, this requires 1 tier 3 item and 2 tier 1 items. As mentioned before, not all ingredients of the same tier are equal in rarity or price. If you aren't careful in selecting which ones you use, you can easily spend 20 times more per cooked food, which will add up very quickly. So what should I be farming? The quick and easy answer is blueberries, honey, and nuts. These 3 items are by far the most abundant and quickest to farm in bulk, which also means they're cheap in cost, so using them to make your food won't cause you to lose money. So where do you find them? The best place will vary slightly from person to person due to faction, territory control, and its effect on the cost of fast traveling. But here are the places I like to farm. Blueberries can be found in a variety of places, but they don't always come in large patches of 5 to 6. The best place I found is around these obelisks outside of Windsward, since every spawn here has large patches and there's a ton of them close by. You can very easily gather hundreds of these without even trying, and keep in mind you only need 1 per food. Honey can also be found in a bunch of places, but the easiest is probably in these hives in each settlement, which respawns every hour, and it's not locked by faction like the supply boxes are. These won't give a ton of honey, generally 15 to 20, but grabbing this each time you run through town will quickly add up. In addition, you can find honey trees out and about, and they give much larger quantities. This is something I don't generally have a route for, since I'm never low on honey, but if you are looking for a route, they generally do come in very convenient places. You'll see that they often spawn next to each other and in some sort of line. So for me personally, this morning I ran the one in Windsward, which is located just south of Hermit's Shrine. I was able to gather over 300 honey in a matter of minutes, and that respawns every 10 to 15 minutes, so you can see how that quickly adds up. The last item is nuts. They're extremely abundant, but they can be a little tricky to find since they're low to the ground. You can find these in dense forest areas such as the area up here just east of the shrine in Monarch's Bluff. They are much easier to see in an area that's not dense with trees, but there's a lot less of them. Here's a trick I like to use to find these. In areas with too many trees and bushes, you're not really going to see these. So I look up to my compass and I watch it as I move side to side. The more it moves, the closer it is to me. So then I sort of move side to side as I move forward, and I rotate around it and it points right to it. This has been extremely helpful for me in finding a lot of nuts. I am still looking for a better area to find these, since it would be nice not to have to just look at the compass the whole time. Of course, if you don't like any of these spots or they don't work for you, you can always check the resource map, which I've linked in the description. If you do decide to find your own routes though, keep 3 things in mind: mob levels, faction control, and distance from shrine or settlement. If you're sneaking around mobs that are too high of level, you're losing a lot of time and efficiency. Try to go somewhere where you're not threatened. You'll find it's much quicker. Faction control will affect a couple things. It will affect your gathering yield, and it will also affect how easy it is to get to and from due to its impact on the fast travel cost. It might not seem drastic, but once you have a full inventory, you could easily be spending 300 to 400 Azoth just to get back somewhere. Of course, nothing stops you from just doing a quick teleport by dying. Now, these are the 3 items that I found that work the absolute best, but it doesn't mean that you should limit yourself to just these 3. If you've been spending a lot of time in one place and you have an absolute abundance of a certain item, feel free to use it, but definitely check its price first. There are items that you absolutely shouldn't use, such as fish parts. Fish can be pretty expensive since it's a little bit slower to acquire. It's also used in a lot of town missions, so it's constantly being purchased on the trade house. So if you've checked the prices of these items, you might wonder, why not just buy my own food? Well, even though cooked recovery food is relatively cheap at the moment, you gain a lot of player experience when you raise a trade skill level. I myself gained a couple character levels just by mass producing food a couple of times. The character experience gain is a static number, meaning it doesn't scale with your player level, so it's best to pump easy levels into cooking early, as the character experience it'll give will make a much larger impact early in the game than later. Where at the same time, 500 gold for food is very easy in the late game, but spending that 500 gold early could really cripple your progress. As I progress further in the game, I will keep checking to see if any other methods pop up. You can expect to see a complete cooking and food guide from me soon after I reach endgame. I want to make sure that first I can spend sufficient time testing things out myself. I always like to verify and test before I preach. I hope this video helps somebody out. Please do consider dropping a like, a comment, or maybe subscribe if you'd like to see more in the future. It really does help a lot. We broke 80 subscribers recently and I couldn't be more grateful. I'm having a blast in this game and even more fun researching and making these videos for you guys. Hope you can continue to support me. Thanks guys, and as always, peace!